Da da da. Try that again. Da 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 da. What's my good cheer? Welcome, welcome, everybody. Let's give YouTube a couple of minutes, get those notifications out, let people know I've gone live. And in the meantime, if you've never met me before, hi, I'm Cindy. I explore the inside and the outside. You guys, it was an outside day. I got beaten up, royally beaten up by, wow, we had an Alberta Clipper and it's just been kind of hanging on. But for me, I thought today was twice as bad as day before yesterday when we actually did have that big blizzard in the city, and they made it so the kids didn't have to go to school, right? People weren't opening up their stores till noon. They made it a big thing. Today I had stuff to do, right? The last minute Christmas stockings, couple of Christmas presents. There was a little bit in that invoicing for myself that I had to go to Staples and get some photocopying done. And yeah, so I got some official stuff done today. And I actually felt really good in that. I had a moment to go into Dollarama, pick my sister up a few more Christmas stockings. Her stocking is huge. Yeah, huge. But she deserves it 100%. And then I went and picked up a few groceries, and I left the house at about 11:30 this morning. I didn't get home until after 5. And right, it's a 20-minute bus ride and another, right? I wasn't as prepared as I thought I was. But, the gentleman who was working the counter was very patient, and he just kind of took everything over and he got the job done for me, right? Lots of times I would say, show me how to do it. So next time when I come in, I can do it for myself. But I kind of looked at the self serves. They look pretty basic. The reason I got him to do all mine was the fact that I had it downloaded in different places, and it was easier for him to pull it up and put it somewhere else before he made his copies. And I appreciate that, I got all of that done. A little bit of grocery shopping, a little bit of Christmas shopping, and a little bit of that office stuff to my own household. And so even though I got beaten up by this storm, like seriously, I have never once had cold feet in my keen boots. Like they're good to like minus 30, but I was just standing on ice. And yeah, eventually my foot froze, and yeah, it took a while to warm. It was pretty bad today. It was really, really bad. When I got into my store, I had to take all my gear off because I couldn't even see. Everything was all fogged up and everything. I was like, what an amazing storm. I'm in the store and I'm looking out big picture windows at the parking lot, and I'm going, oh my goodness. Yeah, we're going to take our time in here because it looks pretty rough outside. But they say this is it, that it's going to start warming up a little bit. But when I was looking at the temperature overnight, it's supposed to get even colder. But that's right. We never get it right with when it comes to the weather, right? Mother Nature controls that 100%, and it just takes a wind change, right? To have things start moving in a different direction. And yesterday they weren't talking about, right, this little storm that we had today, but definitely it was the talk of the town because we all struggled. Oh my goodness, we all looked pretty silly in our winter gear because it didn't look like we even came close to be wearing and bundling up enough, right? But this is right, making mistakes and paying attention and adjusting it a little bit next time I go out. I had pants on, but I did forget this vest. I had my winter jacket over this and stuff, but I really think that I should have had this vest on. As soon as I came home, I put it on. I'm still trying to warm up, and I've got that heat cranked. It's a good thing I'm not paying for the heat because I've cranked it, but I do feel that exhaustion in my voice and in my throat today. And it's Friday, and I got to think that I put in my week. I got to trust that what I did put out was enough, because there is no ruler to life, right? I'm a big believer in just doing the very best that you can and being proud of that, because that is something new for me. And in stumbling across that one lesson, it took the guilt and the shame off of me, because I recognize I always try, right? It's not always recognized, it's not always appreciated, but I always try. And so, that's what they're talking about. Be proud of your effort. And, you might think that you rock something, but in reality, maybe you didn't rock it, right? But in your mind and in your imagination, you did. And we need that mirroring back of how well we're doing as we move along, right? Okay, you guys, I just gonna pull a card. I am exhausted today. I'm all done in, but I got all my stocking stuffers are all wrapped, presents are all wrapped, my dishes are done. I got all that official stuff done, right? I'm proud of my effort. And I may go to bed early, or I might just sit in my chair and flake out and stare into space, right? Maybe I'll bump into something interesting. There was something here that I thought was super interesting that I might like to watch, right? Um, but it's right in how I feel, and as long as I can feel proud of my effort, then I'm good in whether I accomplish something or I don't accomplish something. I'm just trying to see if I can see that video that I really wanted to watch. There's a lot of AI generated content out there. I really have to feel it out, because AI generated content is right. It doesn't have a feeling, right? You can smile and be bubbly, but right, it's still robotic, it's still digital. And it takes me a while sometimes, but I always catch it in the end. And so this video that came across my path was just talking about innovation and how it's going to affect us as a species moving forward, and how fast or slow it's going to move. I doubt that it's going to move slow. It's just going to move fast in every industry, right? In every aspect of what's going on in the world when it comes to innovation. Like, we're dreaming up stuff that people have never thought of before. And that's amazing, because you share those ideas, you share those thoughts, those knowings, those creative ideas, and you never know what's going to hit. If you don't share it at all, then right, the very least is the idea that it's just for you in that process. I come in and I share my movement. It's in the idea that I can be the evidence for other people when they're trying to make movement for themselves in their own lives, right? Because that's the truth. We're creating lives here. And each one of us, our lives look so different. And they're so full of different experiences and different lessons in those experiences. And, it's in our choices whether or not to jump on it and play with it a little bit, or just to space out on the couch with the right remote control and just flip channels all day. Okay, you guys, I'm zonked tonight. Let's get into a card. We're going to call it an end to my week. Saturdays, I don't post at all on Saturdays. I take it for me. It's not that I'm not online, but at the very least, I'm not creating content on Saturday. It's my little taking care of myself, understanding that, when I'm grounding in something that is, I think, detrimental for my own well being at the very least, but in here and sharing that with the idea that maybe that might be some useful information for others, right? But it's that same idea. If I didn't share it, that would just be for me, right? And that would seem a little bit selfish in that, I think, right? These understandings and these stories and these experiences, they were created just for me. Created for what? Not quite sure in this moment, but you know what? I have more clarity than I did 6 months ago, or last year, or the year before, or just even go back 10 years, right? It'd be pretty embarrassing to see me 10 years ago, but that is the process. Okay, you guys, let's just go into a card, just a couple of minutes. If you don't know, these are 50 that we've had this week. They were really, really interesting. But this one is one I love, right? Goals. Goals are the choices just happen. I sent a little bit of a Christmas parcel to a good friend of mine that, I picked up along the way in my travels and in my experiences. And I'm very grateful for that acquaintance, that friendship, right? But the idea is that, if I didn't make the choice to show up here every day, if I didn't make the choice to actually connect with the people and let them know how much I appreciate them hanging out with me. Some of these people have been with me for 10 years, right? Now, being in the life situation that I am, I have to be pretty stringent when it comes to my goals. I try not to overload myself with a plate of goals, because I understand if I don't accomplish them, I'm going to feel bad, right? Because I do take these things personally, and most empaths and highly sensitives do. But in practicing my craft, I get better and better all the time. And I specifically set goals in October, the beginning of October. I set goals and I moved towards them. And for lots of people, they would look at my list of goals and they would say, oh my goodness, I could get that done in an hour, right? Some people wouldn't be able to stuff enough into their lifetime to accomplish half of what's on my list. And that's the truth. And I have to appreciate my limitations, right? Understanding that I am not perfect in every way. And some of the things that I really do enjoy might not be physically possible. Maybe I don't have that intellect, that knowledge yet to make those kinds of moves. I just sometimes feel that, as long as I just keep moving, that these tweaks will fall into place when they're supposed to fall into place, right? We always want things yesterday. But if you guys hang out with me for any length of time, I'm a big fan of setting goals and moving towards them. It gives me a sense of pride in myself. It makes me feel that I'm worthwhile, that I can accomplish, I can do the self parenting, that I could be not tough on myself, but I could be accountable to myself to get things done. And this is how I do make a little bit movement from day to day. And some of my things are just not day to day, right? Some of my goals are for, right, 3 years down the road, especially when, I want to be an RV girl. It's not like I could just wiggle my nose like bewitched and these things will manifest in my life, right? That I have to be responsible in my own actions, that if I want this, right, I'm the one that's going to have to put the work in to get the job done. And if I don't get the job done, wouldn't be because I didn't try, right? So at the very least, I can be proud of that. And I think that counts. I think that matters. Okay, you guys. That's my good cheer. If you want to come in and hang out with us on Sunday night for Chatters Live, I'll be back. If not, I'll be back on Monday, right? With another podcast, another live show. And in the meantime, have a great weekend, you guys.